10 TV's Cierra Johnson is live in Chopper 10 with the details on that. Cierra?
Right now in Chopper 10, I have a unique bird's eye view of what's going on with some of the city's busiest roads. If you actually want to take a look, this is 270 at 70 on the city's west side. You can see traffic is really flowing. The only issue right now is the cold. So in terms of weather, we're not out of the clear. Snow is expected in the overnight hours, which could mean a headache for the morning commute, but the folks at ODOT say they are already working to combat any issues. Now take a look at this video. I stopped by the ODOT garage in Delaware where it was all hands on deck. An ODOT spokeswoman said they expect to be fully staffed, which means about 100 to 125 crews throughout central Ohio. Believe it or not, there is a positive about the situation. Temperatures are rising, but because it's been so cold, crews prepare for this storm a little different.
The pavements are cold, so we won't do any pre-treating because any liquid we put down could freeze on contact. Fortunately, there's a lot of salt residue on the road, so that'll give us a good head start when the snow does move in.
And back live at Chopper 10 as folks makes their way home. ODOT is already thinking about your Friday commute, and here's an interesting tidbit. Crews preparing to hit the road, they're actually using an additive in their fuel to prevent it from gelling, so technology is really being used here, and we will continue to follow these situations. We are live in the sky. Cierra Johnson for 10 TV News.
All right, Cierra, thank you.
Even though Ohioans are certainly used to snow, people often have to get a little readjusted to it again, especially during the first snowfall of the season. 10 TV's Cierra Johnson joins us from near downtown Columbus with more on how people are responding to the snow. Cierra.
Yeah, Scott, right now I am in the first significant snowfall of the year, really the first significant snowfall of the season. And this is what many folks in central Ohio woke up to and are still seeing, a ground covered with snow. Some folks like us right here near downtown Columbus are having the snow of the light fluffy variety. Others in some part of town have that heavier, wetter snow. But everyone throughout central Ohio need to keep in mind these roads are slick. So if you're out on the roads, be sure to take it slow. Now, we've been tracking the snow all day, and we actually hung out with a few people throughout town. Take a look at this video. We had some folks that weren't even fazed by the snow. They spent the day, out with their dog, even sledding. And other folks really had to pay attention. They had to make sure their driveways and their roadways were clear. Take a listen.
I went and looked for a snow shovel, and I was like, can't find one, so got to go out, run out and buy one. I love the snow. I was like, this is what Ohio winter is supposed to be like. So, yeah, I was really excited.
And with these Ohio winters, be careful when you are on the road. I can tell you the visibility throughout the day has varied. And as you can see, those plows are making their way throughout central Ohio. But despite the plows, you still need to keep that clear distance between you and the car in front of you. We're live near downtown Columbus. Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.
That is a good reminder, Cierra. Thank you. So when you wake up to that snow and the temperatures have plummeted from overnight, you still need to make sure that your skills and your car are ready to go. 10 TV Cierra Johnson joins us now with some driving safety advice from AAA. Cierra?
Yes, hi, Scott. I can tell you firsthand the temperatures are, in fact, falling. We've been out here for about an hour, and I can feel that those temperatures have fallen within that time period. We're continuing to watch those models grow, but right now the immediate concern, as you can see, is the rain, which is the precipitation right now. And you can see the ground is wet, but this could quickly turn into, as they mentioned, a skating rink situation. So we did speak to the folks with AAA who offered some really solid advice. First piece of advice is, of course, to keep that gas tank full with the falling temperatures. If you were to get stuck, you're going to want to have enough fuel to keep the heat running. Next piece of advice, of course, is going to make sure that you have some working windshield wipers. Those windshield wipers are crucial, whether it's rain or ice, to make sure you have a clear point of distance. And another piece of advice they discussed, whether it's ice or snow, to make sure if you do swerve, to make sure that you go with the direction of the swerve as opposed to overcorrecting. Now, this gentleman inside the car says as these temperatures continue to fall, they are going to be quite busy responding to both ice and snow rescues. Take a listen.
With the ice and with the really low temperatures, it can, get hard for batteries to start cars.
And that biggest piece of advice that I did not mention earlier, make sure you keep that clear distance between you and the car in front of you. Whether it's ice, black ice, or snow, you're going to want to make sure if you do have to come to a stop, don't slam on the brakes, ease into your brakes, but make sure that you do have enough time so you don't hit that person in front of you. Again, you can see the rain is falling, the temperature is also falling, so we'll continue to keep you updated. We're live near downtown Columbus. Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.
That's a good mention, Cierra. You want to keep at least 3 times that distance when there is inclement weather out there. Well, when snow's in the forecast, people hit the store to stock up on all this stuff, bread, milk, and eggs. But if you can't make it out tonight, stores have options now to get the necessities to you. Cierra Johnson is in Grandview tonight to tell us that timing is everything. Cierra?
Yes, good evening. Just to give you an idea, I'm at the Giant Eagle in Grandview Yards, and when we pulled into the parking lot, that parking lot is packed. Just about every spot is filled, and it's because all of those people are here in line. Every single cash register is up and running, and folks are making their way through. But if you're not want to make it to the grocery store and prefer to have your groceries delivered to you, there are a few things to keep in mind if you're wanting to have those groceries delivered before that first snowflake falls. With another round of winter weather headed our way, many are headed to the store to stock up on those essentials. Shoppers like Ruth Kolker.
We're just going to make a bunch of chicken, spaghetti, and sort of that food that's comfort food for staying in.
And Stephanie Haney, who is stocking up her cart for a cold and snowy holiday weekend with her little ones.
So far, just a lot of snacks for the kids and things to keep them happy and quick and easy stuff.
And by midday, these shoppers had plenty of company. This Giant Eagle in Grandview was busier than normal, with shoppers wandering the aisles, filling their carts with any and everything they may need to hunker down for a long, snowy weekend. But some shoppers are opting for an easier approach. Both Giant Eagle and Kroger offer grocery delivery programs. But a rep with Giant Eagle's Curbside Express says if you were planning to have groceries delivered before the snow begins to fall this weekend, it may be too late. For Giant Eagle, curbside orders can be scheduled anytime between 7:30 a.m. and 8 p.m. with at least 4-hour advance notice before the 8 p.m. cutoff. And both Giant Eagle and Kroger Delivery, who partners with Instacart, say for those Saturday deliveries, they will look to fill orders but be patient given road conditions and the potential influx of customers. So the best bet, make your way to the grocery store before the snow begins to fall. Both stores say they brought in additional staff to stock the shelves and help shoppers to make their trip a quick and easy one. So if cooking isn't really your thing and you prefer to order in, coming up at 6, I'll explain some of the things you need to look for if you plan on using some of those door delivery food services this weekend. We're live in Grandview. Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.
All right, thank you, Cierra. And when the roads out there get dicey, your boss might have to make some decisions.
And that includes companies that deliver food to your front door. 10 TV Cierra Johnson is at Giant Eagle in Grandview to explain who makes that final call. Cierra?
Yeah, so at 5 we talked about groceries, but what if you're hunkered down and have a craving for Thai or Italian? Well, of course, there's an app for that, but there's a few things you want to keep in mind before you place an order. Now, let's remind everyone what last week's storm looked like. Take a look at this video. There were snow-covered roads and dangerously low temperatures. And with the same headed our way this weekend, we reached out to 3 of the most popular delivery apps, Grubhub, Uber Eats, and Postmates, to get insight of the protocol for their delivery during inclement weather. Now, they all essentially had the same message. Their drivers will be making deliveries as long as those restaurants are open. Now, those delivery times, of course, could be a little longer than usual, and since pricing is based on availability of drivers and the demand, there could be a price surge for those items. Now, I did speak with one driver who says he's really gearing up for this weekend. It's going to be a slippery one, but he says it may be pretty profitable.
Most people don't want to come outside. And for me, I mean, I look at it like it's opportunity for me because a lot of people that drive probably don't want to come outside and drive either. So that's when I get out here.
And that driver said he's excited to make a little bit of money, but again, they really want to emphasize that those delivery times may be delayed. We want to make sure both the driver and your meal get to you safely, so pack a little patience this weekend as you place those orders. We're live near downtown. Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.
And you can track those city snowplows as well. She is in Delaware with a look at how roads are shaping up, heading into a frigid, cold evening. Cierra.
Yeah, Scott, we are in Delaware where it is a level 2. We actually want to look. Thankfully, I think a plow is coming our way. This intersection right here at the intersection of Griswold and Franklin is really the tale of two streets. Franklin is pretty clear, but if you pan over this way, hopefully this plow makes it down this road, it is a completely different story. The road is completely covered. If you look down there, some of those cars are still covered as if they haven't moved. And it's really, this is the scene throughout Delaware. Some streets are touched, others like this one really prove why it is still a level 2. It is very, very rough driving. Now, we were out, as you mentioned, all day. If you want to take a look at the video we shot earlier, some of those subdivisions, some of those other back roads completely snow covered. Drivers really taking their time as they get around. And if we want to talk about the chill factor, it is really cold. I can tell you, I have on maybe 3 pairs of pants, snow pants, a jacket, and a hat, and I am still cold. So if you are out, you're going to really want to pay attention to 2 things: the thickness of the snow on the roads and the temperature. And you can see down there, looks like we're getting some attention here. There's 2 plows headed that direction, and I think I hear another one down the road. So there is some progress being made, but that just speaks to, if you are coming out, you really need to pay attention because those plows have not hit every road. So again, Delaware County moved from a level 3 to a level 2 just a couple hours ago, and this is what you're seeing. I mean, we can't even see sidewalk. We can't see sidewalk. So again, stay bundled up and really watch these roads if you're out here in Delaware County. We're live near downtown. Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.
No emergency, and that's where my colleague, 10 TV Cierra Johnson, has been spending part of the day. So, Cierra, where you are, how are the roads heading into an even colder evening?
Yeah, Scott, I kind of want to set the scene for you. Photographer Bill Price and I hit the road. We took 315 to 270 to 23, and surprisingly, the roads were pretty clear. They were dry. You could see the lines, and people were going at the appropriate speed. But once we hit that county line, that's when things really started to change. It was really, you could really see why Delaware County is still under a level 2. Now, right now, I'm in downtown Delaware. There are still a few cars on this road, and the road has been plowed. But if you want to take a look at this alley is indicative of what some of the roads look like, where the sun can't hit them and where the plows may not have touched them. And we're going to show you some of that video from our trip up to Delaware. You can see, again, as I mentioned, those roads were clear, they were nice and dry, and it was safe driving. But then we hit Cheshire Road and Cheshire Crossing. That's the subdivision off of that road, and it was a completely different story. The roads were covered with snow. You couldn't see the lines, and folks there were really, really taking their time. Now, we want to remind you what a level 2 snow emergency really means. It means there's some blowing snow, and there could be some hazardous driving conditions, so you'd want to check with your employer if you are under a level 2. Back out here live, there is some traffic, but I can tell you it's really the temperature that's really has a lot of people concerned. We stopped down to use a restroom down the road. They were actually closing up early. They say it's so cold and some of the back roads were still so bad that they hadn't had any customers. So that is indicative of what this level 2 combined with the temperature really means for the folks here in Delaware County. Again, another look. There is traffic, but there's not many people out on the road. The next half hour, we're going to take you to some of those side streets and let you know what some of those residential folks are dealing with here in Delaware County. We're live in downtown Delaware. Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.
Yes, right now we're approaching the end of that evening commute. If you want to flip the camera around, this is a live look at 270 and 70 on the east side. And as those folks work to make their way home to finish out their work week, ODOT is already thinking ahead, and tonight the focus is on treating the roads as another round of snow heads our way.
Undocumented immigrants are at the center of the debate in our country right now. But as 10 TV Cierra Johnson joins us from just north United Church of Christ, where parishioners say the answer for this mother was simple. Cierra?
Yes, Scott, for nearly 3 months, a mother of 3 called this church home to avoid deportation back to Mexico. But tonight, that mother is able to return to her Central Ohio home with a new visa in hand. Now, take a look at the video. This is from her celebration. And we do want to tell you that the woman at the center of this case, who the church calls Angelica, is not being shown to protect her privacy. And she was not at this event held this afternoon to celebrate the end of her stay. But the attorneys for this woman say she is the first person in sanctuary in Ohio ever to win legal released from ICE. Angelica says she now is able to stay in the U.S. because she has officially obtained her U visa, a special visa set aside for victims of certain types of crimes. Now, members of the congregation who worked one-on-one with this woman say their effort to keep her here and keep her safe while she navigated that lengthy and intensive legal process was one of love.
There's a tiny bit of grief because we've gotten to know her just a little bit, but it's a whole lot of joy. But her story is exceptional. Her story is so unusual. Most often, either someone's in sanctuary a long time, and more often, they eventually doesn't end well. It's not a success story. So, yeah, so we're doing, this is an act of civil disobedience. And this is not just one person, it's a whole faith community.
And tonight, 11 will introduce you to more members of Angelica's team who work to keep her safe here, as well as help her navigate that legal process. We're live in Northwest Columbus. Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.
Cierra, thank you. Thank you for joining us for 10 TV News here at 11. I'm Scott Light. The chase happened around 8:30 Saturday morning. It started on County Road 122, not far from I-71. It ended on State Route 314. 10 TV Cierra Johnson has more on how things unfolded and why the woman says she did it.
Scott, neighbors say there was quite a bit of excitement here on the typically quiet stretch of County Road 122, and Ohio State Highway Patrol says that excitement began to unfold right beyond this bridge's out sign. Around 8:30 Saturday morning, deputies with the Morrow County Sheriff's Office responded to an accident on County Road 122 with reports of a female driver crashing through this sign, ending up in the grass. When deputies arrived, a witness pointed them to the woman who was running through a nearby field. The woman, wearing just a t-shirt and underwear, was screaming she was raped. She was cornered by deputies, but before they could approach her, she jumped into the deputy's car and sped off with one deputy still holding on. That deputy fell off moments later, just before the woman drove the patrol car into a ditch and later a tree. She was eventually taken into custody. The deputy drug in this situation was treated at a local hospital for scratches to both his hands and his face. The driver in the situation was also taken to a local hospital where a rape investigation is currently underway. In Morrow County, Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.
We are also learning more about a new bill that would make the life-saving drug, the EpiPen, or its generics, easier to get. Pharmacists right now are banned from offering patients generics of the EpiPen. Now, the EpiPen right now could cost as much as $600 for a 2-pack. 10 TV Cierra Johnson breaks down what this all means for patients and for parents.
Those behind this bill say it was a direct response to the price hike of the potentially life-saving drug EpiPen. And those behind the bill also say that what's happening here in the Buckeye State could be a model across the nation.
If the difference of a couple $100s is somebody's life, at the pharmacy counter, that's something a pharmacist really struggles with.
Antonio Chacha with the Ohio Pharmacists Association says House Bill 101, recently signed by Governor John Kasich, is the first of its kind. The bill would allow Ohio pharmacists to substitute cheaper yet comparable alternatives of the EpiPen. At its peak, the cost of the drug manufactured by Mylan increased by more than 400%.
Because we're increasing the pharmacist's scope just an inch to say they can make a brand-to-brand substitution so long as it's the same drug, so long as they train the patient on how to use the new device, and so long as the patient says that the substitution is okay with them.
Chacha says the bill also makes it easier for adults with life-threatening allergies to get a hold of the drug.
If you've already received a prescription for an EpiPen, you no longer need to go back to the physician. The pharmacist can reauthorize your prescription.
He says when this bill goes into effect in April, it will slowly create competition with Mylan's EpiPen, leaving the drug maker no choice but to lower their price.
I do believe there are a lot of states that have watched the passage and now the signing into law, and I think that you will see a national wave hit where this type of legislation will be replicated in a lot of states.
In Columbus, Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.
Yeah, Mr. Booth, we'll see you in a few minutes. The snow is also proving to be big business for some local companies. 10 TV Cierra Johnson has more on how this weekend snow boosted profits.
For us, I mean, there's nothing better.
When your business focuses on the outdoors, snow in Central Ohio is a welcome sight.
Well, before we opened, the parking lot was full of cars before we opened up the doors.
Eric Baguette, owner of Colorado Mountain Sports in Hilliard, tells us they've had a steady stream of customers, all looking to get ready for their outdoor excursions since the first sight of snow Saturday.
If we know that there's going to be snow in the forecast, we always bring some extra people to help out with, rentals or lease equipment.
These shoppers started early and stayed late, all of which helped this business's bottom line.
We are a local business, so obviously we need local support, and Mother Nature needs to cooperate.
And it wasn't just local stores selling out of gloves, boots, and hats. It was also hardware stores selling out of things like shovels and salt.
I was a little surprised when we opened at 10 that everybody was just in for the shovels and salt.
For the team at Ace Hardware in Grandview, customers were coming in one after another, all asking for the winter essentials.
Almost every single person that's come in has bought some amount of salt. Whether it's a small bag, large bag, shaker bag, they've bought something.
But it isn't all hard work for these shoppers. This manager says shoppers were also looking to have a little fun in the season's first big snowfall.
We sold out of all our sleds. Every sled we had, we put out Thursday night, were gone when we came in this morning.
In Grandview, Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.
New at 6, the process of bringing medical marijuana here to the Buckeye State has been full of delays and some roadblocks. But tonight, thousands of medical marijuana card holders could be one step closer to getting their medication.
It's just inching and inching along. As 10 TV reporter Cierra Johnson explains, a facility in southeastern Ohio is the final stop in getting the pot.
We're just days away from medical marijuana possibly hitting the shelves here in the Buckeye State. And at this Hocking County testing facility, they're in the final push to make sure that product is safe for consumers.
Today represents the final closure in the link of the supply chain.
Dr. Jonathan Cachet, director of the Hocking College Analytical Lab, says despite months of delays, thousands of patients are closer than ever to filling their medical marijuana prescriptions.
Every state has had delays in the rollout, and they're frustrating across the supply chain.
Delays early on with the licensure of both growers and processors set the sale date back by nearly 5 months.
We were issued our certificate of operation on Tuesday. That basically gave us the go-ahead to go out to the cultivators who have samples ready for testing, pick them up, and begin the testing process.
And today, another hiccup, an issue with transportation labels, prevented our cameras from viewing the testing of the actual cannabis. But using hops, Dr. Cachet was able to show us what this equipment will look like in action in just a matter of hours. Microscopes to look for mold or other contaminants, and computers and other scales to show levels of potency, all of which Cachet says marks a major milestone for Ohioans.
We are anticipating that the cultivators we're testing for will get results. Assuming all passes and there are no public safety issues, that product will be on the shelf next week, late next week.
And the folks at this facility say as more product enters the market, their facility will have to grow to accommodate that demand. In Hocking County, Cierra Johnson, 10 TV News.